Okay, here we are. I know I said last week, okay, this is a little loud, that I would be streaming Butterfly Soup 2, but that was before I found out that a new episode of Silver Shields was available. So my plan is to do Silver Shields according to the page on itch. It should be about a half an hour. It depends on how fast you read, of course. So once I finish Silver Shields, I will probably start another stream and do the next part of Butterfly Soup 2. It depends on how I'm feeling, because there's a big fire going on in the mountains east of here. Not very close to where I live, but close enough that the smoke is a problem, even if we're not threatened by the fire. But it's mostly up in the mountains where it's wild, there aren't any residences. Hi, Grey! So I'm not in any danger from the fire, just from smoke inhalation. And apparently the smoke has even made its way all the way to Los Angeles, which is about an hour drive from me to the west. So if a fire to the east of me has generated enough smoke to get to LA, that's a big problem. But they're only going to contain it if it threatens any homes. And there are some people closer to the fire who've been evacuated. But we're not in, it's probably never going to get close to us. So, yeah. I've noticed I've gotten a sore throat a bit, but I don't know if that was due to the fire or just because the weather in general, because it's hot. And then you get the fire and smoke, and it's just like, really? So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and do Silver Shields for sure. I actually already moved on to the episode 3 title card, because of course the end of episode 2 title card isn't available anymore. So, I took notes. I have to remember what I did. Now, is this the right notes for Silver Shields? This is for, oh, that's for something else entirely. Okay. Okay, that's from A Fairy Tale. That's from When Stars Collide. This is all from Gilded Shadows, so that has nothing to do with it. I know I took notes on Silver Shields. Well, there's my Travelers in Tales notes. Ha! That's from Andromeda 6. So, apparently not there. I have too many notebooks. That's not Silver Shields. Sword and Shield. Wait, that's not right. That's for Changeling. I know I took notes. What did I do with the notes? Or did I just type them on my computer, which is another possibility. Nope, those aren't it. Or maybe it's a different notebook. Okay, I know what those notes are for. Those aren't for Silver Shields. Those are for something else. Come on. That's D&D. Again, that's still on hold because real life got in the way. Don't think it's here. Nope. Here. Huh. What did I do with all of my notes? Nope, that's on my printer paper. Not here either. Wait, what about this little book? Oh, look, here it is. I found it. I found my notes. I have a little bitty notebook that I keep in front of me on my desk, and actually, you'll appreciate this, Gray. It's from When the Night Comes, from the Norris Games. I wrote on the next page of the notebook, but it's in pencil and those other notes I copied elsewhere, so I can erase these. Thank goodness for big erasers. Yeah, it's taking me a while to actually start because I want to make sure I can write down all my notes. But I was actually trying to figure out the timeline for Dragon Age and how it would affect some stuff I had headcanoned for my characters. And so I transferred those to my computer because I was taking the notes at night and my computer was already off. I completely forgot that I was taking notes on Silver Shields in this because I thought it was elsewhere. Nope, it's here. Okay, now I can start. Now I can take my notes. I have actually almost finished using one of the notebooks. Well, I mean, I keep other notes for Dragon Age as far as what my characters do, what decisions they make, but this is like stuff that happens in between the games. So anyway, episode 3. Yeah, I have plenty of notebooks to fill up just with fanfic ideas and stories and stuff. So I don't need any new notebooks. Okay, episode 3, here we go. I wake up to the crisp morning air filling my lungs. Waking in my sleep, I swing my legs out and stretch. My legs are sore from all the walking in the last couple of days. They protest as I get to my feet, all wobbly. After 2 days of travel, I feel like nothing would be better than to wash the forest off of me. Amen. Dripping down, I leave my clothes in a bundle and use a small cloth to dip into the water basin. It's cold against my skin and wakes me up fully with the shock. Wiping away the crust in my eyes, I run the cloth along the back of my neck and all across my body. It's no substitute for a bath, but it gets the job done. I shiver in the cool morning air and get dressed in fresh clothes. There's nothing like feeling clean again. Grabbing the pile of abandoned clothes, I gather them all into my arms and bring them out to the main camp. There are a few other early morning risers there with a large tin basin of water. Time to wash clothes. Huh. Okay. Rowdy has knelt on the ground, though not in meditation or prayer. She dutifully goes through each piece of clothing and washes it clean in the tub. Laundry! Everybody's favorite chore! Jim stands beside her, hanging each piece on a line to dry. Z wiggles her fingers, sending a gust of air against each one to speed up the drying process. Shouldn't you be heating them? Remember what happened the last time? No. Unless it was important, then still no. Radia shakes her head with a laugh, dunking a white shirt into the water that has just enough frills to be serendipities. Chore simulator, right? I burnt Commander Rostami's shirt to a crisp. Oh, I remember now. He wasn't happy. He doesn't like going shopping for new things. I made him one in replacement, but we agreed that I should not be on drying duty. She glances up at me with a warm smile. Good morning, Justana. How are you? Oh, I forgot I went by the name Justana. Let's see. Let's remind myself what I picked. Okay, name Justana, pronouns she, him, combat, mix, bows and arrows, magic from the elements, skill, observant, origins from a temple, worship, no. Raised in a druid monastery but now traveling the world before deciding to devote himself to the faith. License, yes. Cook, yes. Why join? Do something for the greater good. Fireside, Freli, because I'm gonna romance a dwarf. Hunt and track, archer. For dinner, and remembered for goodness and kindness, and wanted to study the orb. Oh, that reminds me, Dragon Age, we get to romance a dwarf, yes! Okay, I'm done. Cold. I fear that you may end up like the commander's shirt if I were to assist in that, but... She reaches out to the campfire and twists her hand. The flames roar brighter, and I huddle by it, damp skin quickly drying. I brought more laundry. More stuff to do. Do not mind Sam, she is just eager to be done with our chores. You should help out. Taking the hint, I get down with Radia and begin to dunk the clothes into the wash basin. My forearms are dripping with water as I scrub it clean. It becomes a repetitive task. Dunk, wash, rinse, repeat. I'm so glad for actual washing machines. Dwarf romance on top. We finally get to smooch a dwarf! Yes! Though I am really tempted by the Canary as well. So apparently, if you don't romance the dwarf or the Canary, they get together. So that's kind of cool. With my extra pair of hands helping, it speeds up the task. Radia glances up at me. I appreciate you helping out. We're all supposed to. Part of the team, right? She nods with a smile. I try to get a stain out of the collar of one shirt, scrubbing at the fabric and trying to work it out. Radia picks up another shirt and frowns at it as she examines the sleeve cuff. She mumbles to herself. He's picked the stitches off again. With the click of her tongue, she sets it off to the side and pulls out a tiny box with a spool of thread and sewing supplies. She gathers the fabric onto her lap and begins to carefully sew the fabric back. Whit always picks his sleeve cuffs apart, and I always have to sew it back together. How long have you known him? A couple of years now. We met under unique circumstances. He mentioned something like that, yes. The Beacon Lightshaper sends out her warriors to find potentially dangerous mages. And is Whit a potentially dangerous mage? She looks at the sewing, focusing on it for a while. I do not believe so, but it's not my call. People thought he was. There was an incident at a tavern. People wrote to the Sunrise Sanctuary, and I was sent to bring him in. He was non-compliant at first. Romancing Tash first. Yeah, she's very tempting, but dwarf, I get to smooch a dwarf, how can I resist? Plus, it's Lace, we already know her, and I loved her in Inquisition. But yeah, non-compliant, great way to say he resisted. Just at first? She chuckles at that. But we learned to trust each other. Coming here was a chance to prove that he could be an asset. She stops, holding the needle against the fabric of the shirt. I learned much at the sanctuary. I've learned much from him. Different things, but still important things to learn. Where were you before? My life was very different before the Beacon Lightshaper. You would not recognize me. Before Sanctuary, before Maidon, before... She grabs the edge of the fabric with a shake of her head. It is a time I rather not think much of. My apologies. She quickly covers it with a smile. I have a question if you do not mind. I know it has only been a couple of days with us, but do you miss your home? Wherever you were before here? Okay, alrighty. Going past all the other playthroughs. This is what my Andromeda 6 playthroughs look like. My Andromeda 6 saves. It's a mess. Do I miss my home? That's a good question. I forget what I said about my family. I think it's mentioned before. Oh, close to family. Okay. Given that I indicated she was close to her family before, or Zay, excuse me, I would say yes. I feel with the edge of my sleeve. I do, more than I thought I would. I'm sorry. I hope in time the ache to return home will fade and this can be a new home. But take solace in that your home will always be there waiting for you. She falls silent for a moment, eyes on the floor. She tucks a pair of pants into the water and frowns, picking at the peeling leather and paint. Streaks of purple thread through the water basin. Serendipity needs to stop doing strange things to their clothes. She lets out an exasperated sigh. Jen, could you? She glances up, but you're already gone. You take your eyes off them for 2 minutes, 2 seconds. She gets to her feet in a fluid maneuver. I'm going to fill a new bucket. Would you mind hanging the rest of these to dry? I nod and get to work as she heads off. Removing the clothes, I shake them out and clip them to the clothesline one by one. It's a warm breeze, and I hope we get lots of sun to dry them faster. The smell of damp linen fills the air, and a heady scent from the florist. Finishing that bundle of laundry, I head out for my patrol of the camp. It's peaceful in the morning, and I spot a red-breasted robin in the trees, singing a sweet song. She's happy because we leave many twigs and straw around for her nest. I jump as I hadn't heard them approach from behind. Glad we could help. She also thinks that we are large and strange, but I told her we aren't dangerous, not to her and her babies. Sent your letter off on a journey. No response yet. I'm sure my family will get back to me soon. It's only been a couple days. Radia was looking for you to help with laundry. Z hums, unconcerned. I did plenty. I don't need to do more. The garden needs tending, and the ravens are restless. They like to fly. The cage is only nice because there's food. And scritches. They are mated. Many mate for life. So many saves. Yes, I am very conscientious about saving. We'll put it that way. Some humans do too. But I have 5 different characters that I'm doing romances with, that I'm playing so I can do the different romances. Some people do romances with the same character, just with different saves. I can't do that. She crinkles their face. That is because they have short lives. Life is constant change. I'm not familiar. How long do your people live? Ji shrugs. Hard to tell. The oracle hasn't died yet. Don't think it will ever. Do you know someone immortal? Not a someone. The oracle is a spirit who lives within the leader of the Star Spire. They become one until he is just the oracle too. No one remembers his forsaken name. It's not for us to know. Once he passes through the gateway, it will choose another. The gateway? When he passes on? Not to death. We are of 2 worlds. Z places both hands out in front of them. This world is material and solid and the same always. The changes are slow over centuries. Then there are the wilds. Z gestures with your other hand. Yeah, when I played Gilded Shadows, it was really hard to not save every time because there was only so many save slots. But with When Stars Collide, it will hopefully be better. There are many gateways if you know where to look. There is one at the pinnacle of the Star Spire. We were the first guardians to prevent the dangerous from getting through, from either side. Yeah, make a character specifically to romance a character. Yes, exactly. I even made a little chart of all the love interests in Inquisition because there were so many and they had specific restrictions, like some of them you could romance them with either with anyone. Others you could only romance them with a specific gender, and others it was only a specific gender and a specific, I hate to say it, but race. So I had to put together a chart to help me visualize who could romance which character, and then figure out which Inquisitor was going to romance which character. What are the wilds like? It is the plane of fairies, Freli told me, in her understanding from her books, the Fey realm and the folk tales. It is an ever-changing place of pure arcana where the wild and curious reside, I was born there, but taken across the gateway to this plane to live among the Starspire. Have you ever been back? Once, when I was young. It's dangerous to stay too long. Time does not pass linearly as it does here. Friend once crossed through, and she's been lost ever since. So I'm of course a fan of Critical Role, and they're going to release season 3 of The Legend of Vox Machina at the beginning of October. So I finally finished watching season 2, and in a couple episodes, some of the members visit the Fae realm, and they end up being gone for 3 weeks when they were actually in the realm for only like a couple days. So many Inquisition, yeah. Not quite as many in Veilguard. I think they realized with Inquisition it was just too many. Do you miss her? She will return one day. The gate waits for her. But don't you miss her? What's the point of missing something when you cannot get to it? The friend I knew is gone, and who will come back will be someone else entirely. You'll be glad to meet the new her, as she will meet the new me. Being robbed of romancing Cullen as a Quinari and being 3 feet taller than him. I get why they did it that way with Cullen and with Solus too, and I can understand some people being straight, but the real crime was making Cassandra straight. She glances my way. I know it is different. Darius doesn't understand. He misses an ache and thinks he can return to a time before. He would like the wilds. Anything is possible there. It's in our nature to miss things. Anything is possible? Sounds like nonsense. Yeah, I watched the trailer for Vox Machina for season 3, and of course we got to see the actual Vax and Keyleth kiss, and it definitely looks like they're going to be progressing the romances between the twins and their interests, and I'm so excited. I don't like this response, but the other two, they definitely have potential. Here we go. I grabbed a bunch of dice and I gotta make sure one is a D4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. It's in our nature to miss things. For sure, there are all things we miss or regret or wish we could go back and fix or see again. Oh, yes. But we can't. Doesn't need to make sense, it just is. The hurt stays that way. Sometimes we need to hurt for it to go away in time. Sometimes it lasts too long. That means it really mattered. Jin glances down, looking troubled. Jin fidgets. I can talk. Really, I can read. I can see what's here. To your hands and glances towards the forest. Keep patrolling. You won't find anything, though. Not today. She leaves as fast as she came and leaves me to my duty. She was right. I don't find anything. In the afternoon, I hear voices coming from the training yard and make my way over. It feels good to stretch my legs after spending the last hour doing dishes. Everyone except Darius is out. Radia has a ball tucked under one arm, and Freli is holding a wooden shield as big as her. You know, I really don't think that children's game is going to help us in combat. Cassandra being straight is a hate crime. For real. It's good exercise, and it's not just for children. We practice this at the sanctuary all the time. It's good for teamwork. Besides, they're even starting a league in Elslador. They're repurposing the Colosseum there. She brightens when she sees me. Justana, I was just about to go get you. Have you ever heard of battering ram? Have I heard of it? I don't know. We'll let the dice decide. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where'd my dice go? I put it away almost. Let's try that again. 1. What's battering ram? Apparently I haven't heard of it. A large device used to break down gates? It does sound like a very dwarf game, to be honest. So, the stream on my tablet is very far behind what I see on what I'm doing. You could be a little mean as a treat. I make the motion of heaving one with my hands as Freli laughs. Well, yes, that's where the name comes from. Wait, shouldn't that be Freli saying that? It's a ball game where you try to get the ball from your side into the other opposing goal and across the line by any means necessary. That often includes barreling right into the person defending and knocking them over, hence the name. She claps her hands. We're playing it today. It's tradition. Daria said it's good for teamwork. It's stupid and childish. I don't want to agree with Wit. I'm changing my stance. It's the greatest thing ever invented. Really? Really? They toss an arm around Freli's shoulder as she giggles and leans into them. It's good fun, but Darius is right. We use it to help practice communication, to know each other's abilities and strengths in a team working environment, and it's a lot safer than all-out combat. Get a little silly goofy with it, okay. Not always, but we take precautions, and blood being drawn is against the rules. Purposeful blood drawn. Sometimes blood just wants to come out. Freli slaps a palm on her forehead. And we finally have even teams! Oh, this is amazing! Wit, Serendipity, and Jin all grown. One of us usually gets to sit out. Now you all get to play. Isn't that wonderful? No. I love Jin. Radia tosses me the ball and I fumble it, but manage to grip it in both hands. I'm taking Wit and Justana. Oh, darn, I hoped I get to play with Freli. I'll be on Freli's team another time. I'm always Team Freli. We'll leave it there. Fuck, I wanted him. I don't know why you always insist on having Wit. He doesn't even want to play. I don't want to play. It's good exercise. She pats the air above his shoulder, never making actual physical contact, and he rolls his eyes. Serendipity leans in to whisper to me, Radia and Freli can never be on the same team because it would be wildly unfair for the rest of us. Freli calls over. And because it's fun to kick her ass. Good luck with that. She gestures for me and Wit to come over. Wit does begrudgingly. She takes the ball back from me and holds it up. There's one ball, and the goal is to take it and get it past the other team's goal line. She points to white painted markers in the sand on either side of the training yard. There's as closest to the guild hall. You can kick, throw, carry, headbutt the ball, whatever you have to do. Magic is allowed and encouraged. You can push, shove, and trip other players, just nothing that will draw blood. You can use magic offensively and defensively. Yeah, I'm watching the stream on my tablet, and on my screen, I'm talking to Radia. On my tablet, I'm still talking to Freli. I think the chat is synced up with my tablet. Most importantly, it's a game and we should all be having fun. Freli's voice carries loudly from where she's with her own huddle. Most important thing is to win. Radia claps me on the shoulder as we get set up in the center. Radia holds the ball out with Freli on the other side. The height difference feels unfair at first as Radia tosses the ball up really high, until blue shimmering magic suddenly snatches the ball right into Jin's arm. She tosses it back to the dwarf who charges forward. Isn't that cheating? Wit snorts. Radia forgot to add that. Cheating isn't a thing. Radia tackles Freli, wrestles the ball from her, and throws it back towards me. Running forward, Serendipity blocks my path, tail swishing like a cat getting ready to pounce. I dodge to the right, and they are quick to match my step. I hold the ball protectively and glance over to the side to see if I can pass to my teammates. I think I missed something. Oh, okay. So, sometimes ADHD brain, I don't register what I'm actually reading. It's funny. Freli and Radia are still wrestling on the ground, and Wit is leaning against the fence, completely disengaged. I feel their hands around the ball, and I quickly tug it away from them and then try to keep running. The foot hooks around my leg and I tumble down, able to catch myself just in time before I crash. In a flash, the ball is gone and they take off across the field. As they're running, there's a sudden flash of white and a chill in the air. Remember he's lazing at the fence, Wood twirls a finger and suddenly the ground underneath serendipity is pure ice. Nice! Their arms pinwheel around as they try to get their footing. Out of nowhere, Radia snatches the ball back and takes off across the field. I run with her and she passes it between me and her. Freli has set up at the end with her massive wooden shield to block. Jin raises a hand and suddenly my vision is full of stars and I have to close my eyes, barely managing to toss the ball to the ground. Once I've regained my senses, it's just in time to watch Radia kick off Freli's shield and tuck and roll across the goal line holding the ball triumphantly. Panting from everyone and groaning from the opposing team, we reconvene in the center for the next round. I get situated on the left-hand side of Radia and prepare. When she launches the ball, she jumps up after it and wrestles it away from Jin's magic. She passes it to me and I sweep my eyes across the field. Freli is charging at Radia and not playing defense. I have a clear shot. I wind up for a long throw and chuck it as hard as I can. Jin attempts to use your magic to pull it off track, but a flash of white freezing magic twists and battles your spell near mid-air. The ball lands across the goal line. We go through more and more rounds until I feel nearly drenched in sweat. Well, what was the point of cleaning up in the morning? Yes, yes, Jin is very blunt. I like that about the gem. It's a good workout, and I get to see some of my comrade's abilities in action in a way I hadn't yet. The mages seem content to stand back and use their magic until Freli starts chasing Wit around, attempting to tackle him. I don't even have the ball! What? He lets out a screech as she catches him, putting his hands so he can stop casting magic, with serendipity neatly scoring another goal. I take a drink from my water skin quickly before getting back into the game. When Radia passes to me next, I summon a powerful gust of wind around it, blasting it out of the way of the other team and successfully over the goal. When they attempt to retaliate, I slam my fist into the ground and a barrier of rock and sand rises just in time to block the goal and allow Radia to grab it instead. Serendipity catches the ball next and winces, shaking their hand. Fuck, I broke a nail. They grow back. Throw it here. The game continues, both sides battling it out. I'm getting winded, and when it's tossed to me next, I try and make a dive for it, and promptly crash right into one of the training dummies and slide across the ground. A sharp sting hits my leg as it scrapes against the wood of the dummy, and I let out a quiet gasp. Radia runs over. Tristana, are you alright? I nod my head, but a throb of pain tells me otherwise. Ow. Jin, can you go get your supplies? She helps me tug at my pant leg, revealing a scrape on my shin. Grass, dirt, and sand cover me from landing. It's bleeding ever so slightly. The game has come to a screeching halt. Wit has collapsed on the other side, laying flat out on the ground. Serendipity leans against a guild hall, mopping their brow. Freli sits in the center, sending worried glances our way. Sorry for stopping the game. You said this wasn't a blood sport. It's a scrape. I'm fine. It wasn't even, the other's fault. Just took a dive and hit something. I mean, I've done that. Accidentally hurt myself. It's a scrape. I'm fine. We can get back to the game. I'm fine. It's a scrape. Still needs to be cleaned up. We could all use a break anyway. That was a bad fall. This is hardly the first wound I've got. I've suffered far worse. Doesn't mean it doesn't deserve to be looked after. Yes. Even little things need to be taken care of. Jin returns with the leather pouch and takes over from Radia. No moving. She holds my leg in place and cleans it with a damp cloth, wiping away the grass, sand, and blood. She reaches into a pouch and takes a swipe of some type of paste to spread across my leg. It smells incredibly strong of medicinal herbs. Needs air now and rest. It'll heal by tonight. Wasn't that deep. It would take longer if you had hurt the entire leg. You can cure that? With time and magic. Both Radia and Jem help me to my feet, and I'm a little wobbly, but I find my footing. We should wind down with some stretches, but Justana, you should get some rest. She glances up at the sun and surprisingly doesn't need to squint to look at it. It's a little too warm out here. Darius could use company. He says he doesn't like it, but he does. She points towards the guild hall, and I make my way over as Radia leads the rest of the group in a stretching routine. Wit still hasn't moved off the ground with a low groan. I knock upon the open door of the guild hall and hear Darius's gruff voice from inside. Come in, Justana. I walk into the hall where he's set up at the same desk he was at when he first interviewed me. With the tip of his boot, he pushes the opposing chair forward to invite me to sit. Peach must have been in here recently. It smells like a wet dog. His eyes flicked down to my pant cuff rolled up, the scrape and healing ointment visible. Your first battering ram wound, huh? He goes back to his paper, scratching at the parchment with a quill pen. Jin healed it up. She's good at that. Well, you're welcome to stay. Cooler here. He nods at a paper fan for me to use to cool off, which I take gladly. He notices there's a piece of wood on his desk, carefully carved to resemble a tree trunk with a paw print carved at the top of it. I don't recognize what it means. Maybe he's into wood carvings? Glances up and follows my gaze and shifts in his seat. It's honoring a memory, one of Kara's older symbols. Picks up the twisting branch, brushing a cow's thumb along the wood. Are you a follower? I'm fond of her work. Don't talk about it much, but helps keep me grounded. It's not like Maidon, with its sanctuary and cathedrals. Out here in the wilds, that's her domains. This untamed wilderness, well, she'd probably hate the fact that the city folk want to come out here and tame it. Kara, goddess of wilds and nature, Maidon is the god of sun and justice. Like the beasts who live out in the woods, you can feed them, train them, love them, but it doesn't make them tame. Places it down with a clunk. More like a good luck charm for me. So she won't be upset that we're out here? Who am I to guess at what a goddess might think? He feels with the end of his necklace. Someone I once knew was a worshipper. Sometimes the gods bless a mortal with a touch of the divine. Or curse them. Depends on how you look at it. He shakes his head. You didn't come here for philosophy talk. Here's something you might find more interesting. Places some of the papers out in a fan in front of me. I take one, then looking it over. It's a lot of numbers and building sketches. What are these? Hoping to build a greenhouse. Just trying to get the funding now. We might have kept that artifact instead of selling it, but there are many other ways to profit, including all the future research that can be done on it. All Freli's notes on the ruins, well, the original buyer didn't also negotiate the rights to exclusivity on that. There are plenty of other scholars who are interested and are paying a pretty price for them. That's shrewd of you. He hummed, stacking the papers together again. What many forget is that an adventuring guild is like any other type of guild. Merchants, crafters, it's there to make money. We're offering a service that people are willing to pay for, and for all of our benefits. Did you work in another type of guild before this? My family did. I chose another path, but I never forgot the lessons they taught me. When you don't have money, you must claw and scrape every coin that comes your way. Be smart with what resources and information you have. Sometimes that's worth even more than gold. Why did you make an adventuring guild rather than something else? It was a dream of ours, and came to pass down our knowledge to a new generation of adventurers and keep this place safe. Ooh, that's it. I'm gonna ask. Ours? Who is with you? I feel a sudden sharp pain in my chest and a flash of blue magic. I hold the spot where it hurts, letting out a quiet ow. Darius hums, brows drawing together. Oh, that kid. Too damn protective. He leans back in his chair. Word of advice, be careful what promises you make with Jen. It's not like between us. Fairies are particular about that sort of thing, no matter how much you think she's tame. Is something bad going to happen to me? Good luck finding your socks for the next week. He runs his fingers through clipped hair, humming quietly. Jin was my first student, not that she listens that often. I ran into a problem early on with my dreams of mentoring. How can I mentor someone who has no interest in what I can teach? Survival, tracking, monster hunting? I'm no mage, and zero magic is nothing I can understand. So it changed from there. I was no teacher. Instead, we found ourselves on equal footing. I might not understand everything she says, but I've learned a thing or two from Jem. Who joined next? We ran fires around the city trying to get traction. First few jobs were difficult, gold was running thin. Then we got 3 recruits all at once. A handful they were. Shakes his head with a quiet chuckle. Daughter of the vegan light shaper, now I've got all these letters promising the wrath of the sun should anything ever happen to her. A renegade mage and his sponsor. The one thing I didn't expect was all the damn paperwork. This place was a little more than a clearing and a couple of tents when they joined. We built up some, but I've got a vision for this place. We'll get there. One day. And what about serendipity? He smiles as he runs his knuckles along the edge of the desk. They were a different case. They didn't respond to a flyer we met while I had to travel to Ailslador. They impressed me, and I offered them a place here. How did they impress you? Pickpocketed me without me even knowing. Not a lot can get away with that, but they're clever, and, well, clears his throat. I think they were looking for a swift change in direction. They might not be exactly what I imagined for the Silver Shield, but that just means my imagination was wrong. He peers outside the window. It's cooling off, a nice breeze coming in as he gets up to open the shutters. He grunts and rubs his knee when he sits back down. Bet your bottom dollar it'll rain later. My knee's acting up again. No clouds, though. Darius gestures to it. Never been wrong yet. Should get packing up now. I take his word of advice and go collect the laundry from the morning as he raises a few fingers in a half-wave goodbye. I head back to the laundry, carefully remove everything from the clothesline and place it away into a wicker basket that's lined with white linen. I do my best to sort out everyone's clothes. It's fairly easy to guess whose or whose based on the distinctive style and general size, so I'm sure there are a few mix-ups. I drop off the different piles of laundry at everyone's tents as I feel a splatter of rain on my forehead. Rushing to finish, I get everything inside to keep dry before heading back into the guild hall. Rain streaks down the glass window panes as the rest of the Silver Shields also seek shelter indoors. Jin takes the longest, holding out Zir hand as the rain trickles down along Zir's forearm, watching the darkening sky. Freli peeks her head down to yell at Sim. I'm going to be soaked! Come inside! Wit is held in front of the fireplace, hair damp, as Radia drapes a towel over his shoulders carefully. She hums quietly as if in question. Stop fussing, I'm fine. Serendipity and Freli have set up at a corner table playing cards together. They place the card in front of them, showing off a single white moon. I literally watched you tuck that away in your boot. I have no idea what you're talking about. Through the candlelight, I can spot a rectangular object tucked into their poofy sleeve. They catch me looking and give me a playful smirk before continuing their game. Jin comes in and shakes off the rainwater, taking a small towel to carefully dry off their antlers. It's getting close to dinner time, so I begin to prepare the ingredients. I had wanted to use a fire pit outside, but it's a change of plans. I begin to pull out what I'll need to make dinner. I want to make something warm and comforting for a rainy day. I begin to cut up ginger, slicing it into thin discs. I hit a couple of cloves of garlic with the heel of my palm, remove the skin, chop it up into tiny pieces, and set it aside. I get a chicken broth heated up and add in a couple of mushrooms. Then I pour in my noodles and cook them in the broth while adding chopped scallions and stirring it all with a large wooden spoon. I shred carrots over top and boil an egg on the side before adding that in as well, along with a homemade sauce with generous amounts of spices added to it. It smells good and everyone is nice by the time I plate up, making sure each bowl is evenly portioned and distributing it to everyone around. Thank you, Justana. She takes hers gladly. They would sell hot bowls of this during winter in Ailslador. Ma used to take me when I was little to get some. She'd always buy extra and pay for whoever was around. She takes a bite and smiles. Tastes just like home. Radia takes the bowl gratefully with a smile and a nod. As Wit eats, I notice his face heating up as he takes quick sips from his water skin. Seems even the little amount of spice I added to the sauce was too much for him as he struggles while trying to not make a spectacle. Perfect for a rainy day, is it not? I don't understand how rainy days are different from regular days. It's just water. Why not take any excuse you can for a little extra comfort? It's my favorite weather. Bright and rain is fine, but it's your favorite? Everyone should enjoy sunny days the most. You can go outside and do things and it's warm and clear. Yes, but the sun gives you wrinkles. You're getting wrinkles no matter what. Look, I already see some appearing. She pokes her cheek and they scoff. I'll have you know that I do not get wrinkles. It is one of the many perks of my lineage. I'm not that old, you know. They glance across the room. Tell me, Wit, I bet your favorite weather would be a blizzard, wouldn't it? You'd feel right at home. Ah, but no, you'll say this is a stupid line of questioning and I hate every type of weather because I'm a spoil sport at heart. Spoil sport at heart. Did I get it right? Wit just rolls his eyes, going back to his food. I like the variety the best. I have experienced much in Ailslador. The changing of the seasons is fascinating. Get cursed, yep. I like it best when it is autumn and the leaves begin to change color and it is cold but not snowy just yet. They have a beautiful autumn in Ekeron. We shall have to go sometime. All the way to another continent? It's only a boat ride away. Almost a month long. June pipes up suddenly from where she is perched in the corner with her food. I do not like storms. We did not have them in the Star Spire. The skies were always clear. You would not like sea travel then. The most vicious storms I've experienced were out on the water, where you're the only thing for miles. Jin visibly shudders. What about you, Justana? What sort of days do you like the best? Oh boy, that's a good question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I am going to roll a d8, and if I get an 8, then I have to roll again. So I rolled an 8. 5. Windy days. Actually, I don't like windy days myself. We get very nasty wind here because of where we're situated in relation to a pass through the mountains. So it's like it becomes sort of a wind tunnel. So we get the Santa Ana winds down here, and I hate them. I like it best when it's windy. It makes my ears hurt. It is very refreshing. Darius finally comes back around, grabbing his dinner and thanking me with a nod. What's your favorite weather, Commander? He hums, slurping from the bowl. Wintertime, when the snowflakes are large and fluffy-like, not when it's too heavy to shovel. He glances into the bowl for a moment, gaze drifting as if reminiscing. Peach likes to catch the snowflakes. The dog winds around his legs, letting out an affirmative bark. She comes up to me, her tail wagging. She's hungry too. That translation feels obvious. I head back to the kitchen, use the leftover cut of meat to prepare for her, which she eagerly devours. When she's done, she flops down at Jin's feet, who scratches behind her ears. I have a surprise for you all. Don't keep us in suspense. He smiles, stirring his bowl just long enough for her to protest more. Remember the farmhands we helped with their scarecrow problem? Sorry, Justana, before your time. I assumed as much. Well, as part of their thanks, they've offered us some of their riding horses for us to use. They're being delivered tomorrow morning. Thought we'd get to know them and brush up on our riding. We'll make getting to places a hell of a lot quicker. They couldn't have been delivered before we went on the last mission. Freli nudges their ribs. Be grateful we're getting them at all. That is wonderful, Commander. I will be glad to meet them. He gives a nod to everyone and heads up the stairs to the top part of the guild hall, where I assume he sleeps. The rain keeps coming down this hard. The rest of you can camp in here if you prefer. There are extra blankets in the storeroom. Take everyone's bowls and wash them up after dinner, rinsing them out and dumping anything left over. Radia stays up to help me dry them off. Just as I finish up, I head to the storeroom to put them away. You said you wouldn't break your promise. I jump, rattling the glassware as she startles me. Place a hand over my heart. You always have to sneak up on people? You promised. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Darius even said you were being too protective. Not protective enough. Z crosses your arms. It's not good to make promises you don't keep. Am I cursed now? I felt something funny with your magic. Jin tilts your head. Only a little bit. Z sighs. The wound has never closed up. It doesn't matter how many salves. It aches and bleeds and infests and consumes. Learn to live with it until someone picks and scratches it open. Stops scratching, and just as quickly, she leaves. Unfortunately, I'm very bad at not leaving wounds alone. I get bug bites, and I keep scratching at them, and even when they scab over, I keep picking at the scabs. Jin slinks out back to your tent, and Wit is quick to do so as well. Meanwhile, Freli and Serendipity are set up on the floor in a pile of blankets and pillows, and Radia sits with them cross-legged. Of course I'm gonna stay inside. Freli's inside. Hello. I decide to stay too, and Freli offers me a pillow and a blanket. It's nice to get out of the rain, and I fall asleep to the sound of their quiet laughter and talking. The next morning, the sky is overcast and the grass is damp. The rain has stopped for now. I pull away from the window and tug the blankets off of me. My back is a little stiff from sleeping in the nest of blankets and pillows, but I feel warm and dry inside. Serendipity is still asleep, but it appears Radia and Freli have already woken and left. I leaned to pull on my socks for the day, but realized that they're nowhere to be found. He warned us. I had to get another pair, but the only ones that I could find are damp and uncomfortable to wear. I start the day by making scrambled eggs and toasting warm buttered bread for everyone, adding onions and chives and plating it up. Forget the onions and chives and we're fine. That's why I prefer my toast. It satiates the growl in my stomach. Jin makes tea for everyone, passing out cups of it, and it's warm and satisfying. Darius comes and greets everyone as we gather by the fire. He scratches at his beard, some of his hair askew. Good morning. Horses will be here by the afternoon and we'll get used to riding them. There's been a slight, Sex's teeth glancing between me and Freli. None of them are ponies? No, ma'am. That's alright. I have Cricket and he's better than any new horse. That means there's one for Jasona then, too. All comes out in the wash then. Freli fills with her sun charm, twisting and twirling it in her fingers, and sets the rest of her breakfast aside. After spending the morning helping Jin tend to the plants, which seem to be thriving from the rain, I watch as Darius greets someone at the gate. I hear voices and see a young woman and the neighing of horses. She helps lead them around the back as the rest of us gather at the clearing outside the encampment. There's the well we gather fresh spring water from, and we have room to breathe away from the Atwell. There are a variety of horses, all with sleek coats and batting the ground with their hooves. Six Soul and Freli brings Cricket around to join in. He seems perkier with the new additions, an extra spring in his step. The horsemaster departs and leaves us to it with a final nod at Darius, who leads over a horse by the reins to hand to me. She has a coat of gold and a pale white mane and tail. The mare bows her head, taking a few steps backwards as she gets adjusted. She's a Palmino! Sorry, I love Palminos. They're my favorite breed of horse. Ah, yes. Hey, girl. I raise a hand cautiously, stroking her mane. She seems receptive, nudging her head forward into my palm. What should I call you? Name your horse. Oh my gosh, what am I gonna name my horse? Ah. This is very important. I'm gonna have to live with this name for the rest of the game, however long that is. Ah! Okay. Let's see. Time to look at name websites. Okay. Name's Golden Moon. Name Gold. Okay, so the name Golden, Tebu's wife's name in Fiddler on the Roof, means gold. Interesting. Jin means gold in Chinese. Or, it depends on which Chinese character you use to... yes, horses. Depends on which Chinese name you use, character you use to represent the name. Marigold, of course. Oriana, possibly derived from Latin aurum, gold, or from its derivative Spanish oro or French or. In medieval legend, Oriana was the daughter of a king of England who married the knight Amadis. Orinda, probably an elaboration of Spanish oro, gold. This was the pseudonym of the English poet Catherine Phillips. Paz means gold in Hebrew. Interesting. Adorned with gold. Cool. Good color. Da, 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 da. Zlata is Polish for gold. Translation of the Yiddish Gulda. Okay. I of Rosura, which is Spanish. Where was it? Spanish means golden rose, derived from Latin rosa, rose, and aurea, golden. Rosura, how about that? Rosura seems to agree, tossing her mane. She already has a saddle and bridle attached in an attempt to mount her. We're going to pick the observant trait. Oh, I forgot to actually... Oh, no, wait. I'm not going to go back and say... I attempt to ease her and bond with her. I follow my instincts and keep an eye on Rosura to predict her next movements. Speak in a hushed, gentle tone as I slip into the saddle, stroking her neck. She seems comfortable, and I take her around for an easy ride as we work in tandem together. Awful at scratching. Yes. I take a look around at the others and wonder how they're all managing with their new steeds. Ooh, yes! Get to flirt. Flirt. I make my way over to Freli where she's with Cricket. She's brushing his coat down. His eyes are closed and he looks very content. She looks up and gives me a bright smile. Aw, look at her, what a beauty! She stands on her tiptoes to stroke my horse's muzzle. What'd you call her? Rosura. Well, it's very nice to meet you. She glances around at the others with their steeds. Everyone seems to be having a good time. What about you? Me? I always have a good time. I'm sorry you didn't get a new horse as well. Don't be silly. I have Cricket. She scratches his neck and he leans into her touch. I wouldn't even want a replacement for the world. Still, they should have at least given you the option for a pony or something. That's alright. It all worked out in the end. And then there was an extra one for you. That makes me feel better. She gives me a warm smile. Did you know that in many underground dwarven communities they use ashen crawlers, beasts of burdens designed for the climates and rocky terrain beneath the earth? Ashen crawlers. I'm not sure I want to know what kind of creature that is. They use them to pull wagons into travel. What do they look like? Squat and muscular with thick, shaggy gray coats. They also shed their coats, and that's used for a lot of blankets and clothing. I've read all about them. You've never seen one in person? Well, I was born topside. Ma's from there, but she's never been back. She said I wouldn't like it much. Sometimes it feels like... She trails off and Cricket nuzzles into her hand. She pulls out the apple he's chasing and feeds it to him. Yeah? Just so I read these things in books or hear it secondhand. I can read and speak Dwarvish, but I've never had to, you know? I just wonder what life would have been like if I had been born there instead. Yeah, she's clearly... I mean, she follows Maidon, right? Yeah. And she has a very bright-sided personality. I don't think she'd do great underground. I hope you still would have ended up here. She laughs. Like I was fated. You sound like Jin. If not that, then I hope we'd still get a chance to meet. She nudges me playfully. I bet we would. That'd be nice. I wouldn't trade the life I've had for anything, but sometimes it's nice to think. Wonder. That's what life is all about, after all. Wondering. Speaking of, let's get together soon and examine that artifact we found in